Well, I'm so thrilled. I love that title, Congresswoman-elect. It's humbling to have. It's certainly an honor to be elected by such a resounding margin from the residents of Texas 32. I'm humbled by their confidence, and I intend to work very hard. You know, some of the things that I'm going to be focusing on is healthcare access. It's something I've been working on quite a bit in the Texas legislature. Unfortunately, Texas leads the nation in some undesirable statistics. The highest rate of maternal mortality, women dying after childbirth, the highest rate of infant mortality, children dying after childbirth, the largest amount of people without access to health insurance. So I think healthcare access is clearly something I want to continue to work on. Economic opportunity, we need to, the American dream needs to be full for everyone. We need to create opportunities for spaces for people to get employed. You know, workers and businesses that I've met with, businesses in particular, are having a workforce crisis. Hospitals can't hire floor nurses, auto dealers can't hire mechanics, construction companies, builders can't hire enough workers. So creating that space for education, training, workforce development is something I really want to focus on. And consumer protection issues. You know, I'm very concerned about our elderly population and financial security for them, and making sure that we have some consumer protections measures placed in place to keep them from being abused financially. And I think immigration also. Immigration goes hand in hand with workforce development. I'm going to really try to deep dive into the visa system and see if we can't do some restructuring there. Well, you know, any committee that you get assigned to it has an importance and value, or it wouldn't exist. But, you know, I'm looking to kind of follow in some of Collin's steps on the Transportation Committee. I'd be the only, he's the only Texas Democrat on that committee. And so I'd be looking to maybe fill that shoes, you know, with Texas and North Texas being the fastest growing metropolitan area in the country. We have real transportation needs that we need to be filled. So focusing on that infrastructure, judiciary, ultimately, maybe Ways and Means and some other things. But wherever they put me, I'm going to work hard and be effective. Well, I can govern under any majority. If it's a Democratic majority, it'll be the first time I've ever been able to legislate with a Democratic majority and have the ability to have I know I have the votes on my side. But all my experience legislating has been with a Republican majority, so I've been in the minority party. That's the only way I have functioned so far, and I've been very effective in that environment. So I think my experience in the Texas legislature will prepare me well if the Republicans do hold the majority and have the trifecta. That's what I'm used to now, and I still have been able to be effective and pass a lot of legislation under that environment. And I'll just take the skills and everything I've learned to the next level and hopefully have the same success.
You won handily in your district, as you said, but nationally and statewide, not a good night for Democrats.
No.
And so I'm wondering, in your estimation, what happened?
You know, I just think Democrats failed to listen and really communicate a strong economic message. You know, I've been thinking about this quite a bit. You know, I really tried in my own messaging to talk about economic opportunity, and I think that's where people are. And, you know, we're still post-COVID. This is our first post-COVID election. And people are still suffering. You know, inflation, when you go to the grocery store and it's $27 for a pack of paper towels, and if you're a minimum wage worker, it takes you 4 hours to earn that, that's a problem. And so I think while the economy has certainly grown and expanded under the Biden administration, I just think Democrats really failed to communicate a strong economic message, and we lost because of it. Well, I think there's a lot of things, you know, like affordable housing, for example. There's certainly measures that we can place. We can expand the scope of Section 8 housing, expand the opportunity for people to take vouchers and use them. For example, if you are on food support and you get a little credit card and you can go to any grocery store and use that and buy food. But housing, it's not the same. I think we can do some things to really open up housing opportunities and create that. And that housing is the single greatest expense for people. And so I think there's a lot that we can do. And I think also as members of Congress, it's up to us to be good communicators about what the government is doing and what the government is not doing, and really seek to get people where they are and try to find things that we can do to help them. Healthcare debt is a huge issue for people. So I think economic opportunity encompasses so many issues: education, housing, health, credit, all the things. And so I think there's a lot of areas that Congress can work on to improve people's lives bit by bit. Well, obviously, I really hope the child tax care credit is extended. I think that has been a huge help for families, and we need to continue to expand that and create opportunity. And some of the tax cuts are good. People want less taxes, but I think we have to also look as what does that come against? Our debt is ballooning. We have to be mindful of our debt. At what programs does the tax cut offset? Where is that in terms of a reasonable balanced budget approach? So we just have to get in there and really look to see the cost benefit of it all. But at the end of the day, one of my political philosophies has always been, don't tax people to only what you need to, not any more than that. People work hard for their money, but we have to still do the functions of government. Government has to still be able to be funded to do the things that the people expect it to do. So there's a balance there. Well, I've always been a proponent of funding our border in terms of processing all the law enforcement courts, everything that we need to do in order to have an expeditious resolution of border claims, fair, fast, and final border system. It is outrageous that people come here and they don't get an appointment for 5 years. Well, that's just not acceptable. And I just don't think that's right. So obviously I am for increased funding to make sure that we have the resources to have prompt resolution of asylum claims. But then I think also there should be a lot of measures for expanding our visa structure. For workforce, employers need workers, and there are people who want to fill those jobs and employers who want to hire those jobs, and that only benefits our economy. And so giving people other pathways to be in this country legally will also help. Well, I really hope that we can resolve the abortion issue federally and voting rights. I think we need to make sure that everybody has a right for a free and fair election, and that every citizen has the right to easily participate in voting. Texas is the hardest state to vote in. Both of my sons came home because the mail-in ballot application was too onerous for them. And I think we need to take a look at that. We want our young people to vote. We want our young people to participate in our democracy. So hopefully we can streamline some voter registration opportunities and encourage the youth of this country to vote at higher numbers. Obviously, young men voted more for President Trump and Republicans, so maybe the Republicans will finally be open to expanding voter registration and making it easy, but I'd like to see that. But reproductive access, we can't have women dying in our state. We're losing OB-GYNs like crazy. We're gonna really have a shortage of OB-GYN physicians to deliver and care for all of these pregnant women and babies that we're having in this state, and it's something that is of critical urgency that I hope we can address.
And you're talking about federalizing
right.
legislation in both. When
Yes.
you talk about voting rights, which is normally a state issue, and then same thing now that Roe v. Wade was tossed out, and it goes back to the states. But given the nature and the makeup of the Senate right now, it's a Republican majority, that's not likely to happen, right?
It's probably not likely to happen, but that doesn't mean we don't try. We still put it out there. We've never made progress because things were hard. We make progress because we keep trying, we're deliberate, we're focused, we're relentless, and we never give up.
Congresswoman-elect Julie Johnson, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations again.
I appreciate that.